I've worked with different sustainability projects, and especially of them are related to agriculture. That's why I have chosen this topic today. Let's start by a brief introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining today's presentation on the topic that is not just vital for our present, but also crucial for the future of our planet and society. ESG in agriculture, its goal is especially to greener future. As we stand at the intersection of environmental concerns, social responsibility, and ethical governance, agriculture emerged as a pivotal player in the pursuit of sustainable practices. The ESG framework provides us with a lens to enhance the impact of agricultural activities on the planet, its inhabitants, and the system governing them. So today, we will see how the principles of the ESG can be implemented into agriculture and also make positive impact. We will see also the main ESG principles and their application in agriculture, aiming not just for harvest of crops, but also harvest of resilience, equity, and a greener and sustainable future. So the plan of my presentation is I will start by presenting exactly what is ESG. I will define the ESG and give some ESG factors. Then we will see how is ESG implemented in agriculture, and also present some ESG materiality maps for agriculture, and see the benefits of implementing ESG in agriculture, and finally, how to report ESG specifically in agriculture. So let's start by presenting what is ESG. It is very famous at the moment. Different companies, international companies, implement ESG, but we don't know exactly what is ESG. That's why I will present it. ESG, it means environmental, social, and governance. So it is a set of practices. Practices means policies, procedures, metrics that organizations implement to limit negative impact or enhance positive impact on the environment, society, and governance by bodies. It is also a framework used to assess the sustainability and ethical impact of a company's operations and practices. It is a set of on the principle that the environment is only one factor in determining an organization's commitment to sustainability. The goal of ESG is to capture all non-financial risks and opportunities inherent to a company's day-to-day activity. So companies that adhere to ESG standards agree to conduct themselves ethically in those three areas. And this commitment can show on various strategies, tactics, and ESG solutions. As ESG physically becomes top of the minds of directors, it is essential to consider the global nuances that drive focus region by region. We can see in this picture the main ESG factors. Let's start by environment. Environment, it concerns especially the factor, the environmental factor concerns especially biodiversity loss, climate change, renewable energy, reduced carbon emissions, green building, deforestation, native title, pollution, and reduced waste. When we see social factors, main social factors concern diversity, inclusion, race, gender, human rights, modern slavery, supply chains, anti-discrimination, bullying, harassment, First Nations people, cultural heritage, health and safety, data privacy. And finally, about governance factors, it concerns risk mitigation, shareholder activism, anti-bribery, corruption, accountability, both independence, diversity, decision-making, and leadership. These are just examples, but the definition of the ESG factors really depend on the type of activity of the company. So why company are implementing ESG? First, they need to implement ESG because ESG increasingly drives financial investment. So it's the first reason to engage companies in ESG reporting, and especially it's from investor attractions. In fact, ESG provides non-financial information, enabling investors and managers to better evaluate the risks and opportunities related to ESG issues. They help also corporations to determine whether the company is in alignment with their values, so the value of the investors, as well as analyze the ultimate worth of the company for their purpose. It is certainly true that an increase in share of capital is being directed with a lens on sustainability performance. Globally, asset funds applying sustainability criteria to investment decisions have almost doubled over 4 years and more than tripled over 8 years, reaching of this value in 2020. What are the main reasons? The other reason is also ESG creates value within the company. It means that it creates value for the company by providing stronger financial returns driven by operational efficiencies, cost reductions, productivity uplift, asset optimization, and other positives. Most of studies related to companies' ESG performance in 2050 found statistically significant positive relationship, meaning that companies with better ESG performance also had a stronger financial performance. So it's a main relation. Another reason is regulatory pressure is increasing. The growth of regulation of domestic and international investment markets and corporations put pressure on different companies, not on sustainability performance, but also certainly on ESG disclosure practices. The last reason that we can note is also ESG can meaningfully influence environmental and social outcomes. In fact, ESG is a tool by investors as to evaluate the risk, but the ESG investing is also promoted by some investors as a way to make a meaningful difference in climate, environmental, and social outcomes. Although there is a wealth of scholarly literature on the effect of ESG on a company's financial performance, there is a little evidence about whether a company's focus on ESG improve social or environmental performance. It is reasonable to assume that the transparency of and accountability that comes with a public ESG or a sustainability report may cause the company to reflect and improve, particularly on easily measurable and fixable indicators such as gender diversity on the board. But there are also strong arguments that the ESG cannot make a difference on many of the environmental and social issues that most matter. So sometimes there is a different opinion regarding the impact of the ESG, but it's usually used by investors to make a differentiation between companies. And now let's see the application of ESG in agriculture. That is the main focus of our presentation. The agribusiness sector, it concerns different companies operating in animal agriculture, arable agriculture, aquaculture, wild capture fisheries, and commodity foods. And the companies in this sector include soft commodity traders, meat, grain and food processors, and fishing companies. And today, environmental, social, and governance is a core pillar of value creation for organizations of all sizes. Due to an evolving set of expectations from stakeholders, we cannot, for example, investors, and pending regulatory requirements, ESG is no longer a discussion, it's a necessity. So it concerns especially agriculture. On an environmental risk scale, the agri-food industry is considered an at-risk sector because balancing food production and profitability with ESG imperatives will be increasingly important in the foreseeable future. Let's continue. There are different ESG issues specific to agriculture. Every industry has a different driving forces behind the development of ESG programs. The following issues of the material of the agricultural sector. So regarding environmental risk, agriculture and forestry are the largest greenhouse gas emitting sectors after energy. So focusing on GSG emissions in the food system is risk arise due to agriculture and land use, storage, transport, packaging, processing, retail, and consumption. Another issue that we cannot relate it to agriculture is supply chain. Organizations have implemented sustainable procurement criteria into their supplier management, including codes of conduct, outlining guidelines concerning responsible sourcing, human rights, and the environment. And the agricultural sector needs to consider these criteria to demonstrate appropriate governance of suppliers and meet the stakeholder expectations. Another key element of supply chain management covers the implementation of diversity and inclusion criteria as part of the supplier code of conduct. And the agricultural sector must ensure diversity in sourcing, suppliers, and logistics to maintain its customer relations. Regarding the regulation, there is also ESG issues because upcoming regulation on public companies to disclose and report on their scope 1, 2, and 3 GHG emissions will put pressure on the entire supply chain to map out their carbon footprint. And lastly, the business model transformation. The agricultural sector will need to innovate its business model to integrate sustainability into its operations. One way is to promote the adoption of regenerative supply chain side practices, and this could be included in biological sequestration, the use of no-till farming practices, or enhanced crop rotations. Now let's see what are the main importance of ESG in agriculture. It is very important in agriculture because companies operating in agriculture can benefit the local communities, encourage ethical labor practices, reduce negative environmental effects, and improve governance. The agricultural industry may support social progress, environmental protection, and the long-term economic viability by incorporating ESG principles. ESG factors also help agribusiness grow in ethical investors, fulfill changing customer demands for ethical and sustainable products, and reduce risk related to climate change and resource scarcity. Another importance in agriculture is that ESG encourages sustainability, foster stakeholder trust, improve risk management, and satisfy consumer desires for morally and environmentally responsible products. Embracing sustainability and responsible practices not only helps mitigate environmental challenges, but also foster social inclusion, economic stability, and supply chain resilience. And by prioritizing ESG considerations, agriculture companies can contribute to a more sustainable and prosperous future for the industry, stakeholder, and the planet as a whole. Now let's see a ESG materiality map for the agribusiness sector. This is an example of a materiality map, and it provides on an illustration at the point of time of my findings on the relative materiality of certain ESG factors from the stakeholder and the credit perspective of the sector. You can see here for environmental, the most important are physical climate change, climate, and then it go down to climate transition risk, water, biodiversity and resource use, pollution, and water and recycling, waste and recycling. For social, it concerns especially customer health and safety, then working conditions and sustainable products and services. It can also note responsible marketing and labeling, access and affordability, workforce, health and safety, employment practices, impact on communities, and privacy protection. And now let's see What are the main environmental factors in agriculture? We can implement these factors when, for example, we are responsible to implement the ESG in the company. The most important is the sustainable land and water management practices. The goal is to reduce soil erosion, increase soil health, and stop degradation. Agribusiness must implement sustainable land management techniques. Another front is also maintaining and enhancing soil quality, which involves using methods including crop rotation, conservation tillage, cover crops, and agroforestry. Effective water management is also crucial in agricultural industry. And lastly, reducing water use, reducing runoff-related water pollution, and protecting water resources can all be accomplished through implementing irrigation technology, water recycling systems, and water efficient practices. Another environmental factors in agriculture is the conservation of biodiversity and natural resources. For agribusiness to be viable over the long term, biodiversity preservation is essential. It involves preserving native species, safeguarding natural habitats, encouraging farming methods that are friendly to biodiversity, and avoiding the use of pesticides and genetically modified organisms that can have a detrimental impact on the biodiversity. Another factor is climate change mitigation and adaptation strategy. Climate change is very important at the moment. It is the obligation of agribusiness to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to climate change. They can reduce ESG carbon emissions by practicing different practices. For example, carbon absorption in soil, precision farming methods, agroforestry, and the use of renewable energy sources to lessen dependency on fossil fuels can help activity. When we see social factors in business, it means labor rights and fair working conditions, community engagement and stakeholder consultation, and responsible supply chain management. Let's see how we can make labor rights and fair working conditions in agriculture. Agribusiness should make sure that their supply chain use honest and secure labor practices. This includes freedom of association and abolition of forced and child labor, as well as providing fair wages, acceptable working hours, and safe working conditions. You can see, for example, here in Africa, there are different farmers working for a company. And in that case, even there are farmers, the company who wants to implement ESG would need to respect the employment conditions of the farmers. Then when you see community engagement and stakeholder consultation, local communities, especially smaller farmers, indigenous people, and other stakeholders should be actively engaged with by activities. In order to achieve this, partnerships must be fostered, local development projects must be supported, land rights must be respected, and the social and cultural effects of agricultural activities must be taken into account. Let's see now responsible supply chain management. Agriculture needs to improve social ethical sourcing methods such as supply chain transparency and put in place traceability. This entails making sure that suppliers follow societal norms across human rights and refrain from actions that encourage segregation, non-trading, and other forms of social inequality. So it's not concern only the company has, it should also concern all suppliers. Governance factors in agribusiness, ESG, so transparent and accountable governance structure in agribusiness, especially agribusiness governance framework that are open and accountable county, sound oversight, transparent decision making, and efficient resource management. They enable sustainable and moral intervention by cultivating and testing stakeholder trust and regulatory compliance. Then we cannot also ethical business practices and ethical measures. Agribusiness should respect strict moral principles and encourage an ethical workplace environment. To do this, regulation against corruption must be put in place, financial transactions must be transparent, and the conflict of interest must be avoided. The last point is the post-diversity and inclusion policy. The diversified independent force of research with pertinent experience to be presented in businesses. Transparent governance, frameworks and procedures guarantee accountability, sound treatment, and efficient management of the business activity. Now, let's see the main benefits and challenges by implementing ESG in agriculture. We have already seen the different factors, ESG factors in agriculture and also the main ESG points. But now let's see the main objectives of the company implement the ESG. So is the expression of a new program ensure long-term success. It can also help to access to capital, safe and provide safe and sustainable development, maintain current playing space, supply chain optimization, to consider therapy, talent attraction and retention, operational efficiency and innovation, partnership opportunities, and community. This point here is an explanation of service response. So let's see an answer on the citizen and customer loyalty. In fact, their opinion is agribusiness improve on the recognition and the properties of customer loyalty. It also goals and keep clients that share their values by exhibiting the reputation, sustainability, moral behavior, and ethical. Yes, we also improve risk management and service sustainability. And companies who assess the responsible investment and continue to but there are challenges in implementing ESG, especially in artificial. The first is regulatory and compliance issues, for regulation and the compliance challenges are interpreted by business implementing ESG. Within the organizations, staying on top of technical rules and ensuring supply chain transparency and visibility. Non-compliance can have a negative result. The persistence are one solicitation and the treatment on for marketing particular methods of continuity. Then, conditioning to sustainable practices and technologies can be a challenge. In fact, adopting an environmentalist can be artificial techniques such as active organic farming, precision agriculture, and regenerative practices is a necessary step in the transition to active business industry to sustainable practices and technology. It also embeds employee eco-friendly tax management techniques for better efficient education systems and renewable energy sources. Therefore, we're considering a new investment in infrastructure, research, and education without long-term advantages such as reduce environmental impact, increase the food efficiency, and improve the climate change. The last challenge is collaboration and knowledge sharing within India. So, to advance sustainable practices, the agricultural sector must collaborate and share expertise. Sharing knowledge, best practices, and research results among interested parties such as politicians, industry organizations, and farmers promote collective learning and stimulate innovation. Collaboration can result in the creation of sector-wide standards, the sharing of resources, and cooperative projects that accelerate the adoption of professional practices and progress in the industry as a whole. So, how do you report the ESG? You can see actually that different companies report ESG as how if you are interested it's possible of environmental projects, how you can implement it. So ESG today is totally solved as a reporting framework. However, originally it was the framework developed for evaluating the sustainability related disclosure of listed companies for investors. Now, with the demand for ESG related information on the rise, ESG framework has become synonymous with reporting. We can note that there is no standard ESG framework yet. Only a broad consensus of the issues covered by it. There can be a limited experiences at the platform solution. For this reason, companies rely on sustainability reporting standards to determine how and what they report. Even there is no standard, companies with report such as ESG use different reporting standards. The most common are ERE, is the Global Reporting Initiative, and the SASB is the Sustainable Accounting Standard or standard. And the ESG reporting is typically done by publishing a sustainability report for more than one company of disclosing data who will steadily showcase the company's ESG performance in addition to the more standard. These are the tools let's see an example of the framework they have chosen the organization for partners. When you check the website, you can see that there is the ESG report published in the company, in the website, and the companies always make a ESG report every year, so you can send every year. The table of content, let's see. Here you can see the most important one is of the approach to sustainability, environmental focuses, social impact, and governance. I have highlighted here the most important stuff. When you see the report, there is environmental focus. As we have seen before, there are different environmental factors, but the companies have chosen this. So we choose to invest in improving soil health, the most important, and then also use conservation pillars to reduce erosion, improve soil health, and conserve water. After that, they choose to use the rubber rate application technology to efficiently replace fertilizer, water, and other issues. And then after that, they finally use equipment with exhaust technology to control emissions. When they have established certain ESG factors, they need to see exactly their project, and so they choose the environmental factors. Now let's see the social impact. So the most important are, of course, the feeding the population, helping the tenants, selecting the farmers, as our tenants in Italy. That's what they had in the report. Tenant investment. So for them, it encourage a dialogue with them to learn about opportunities to better support them and to grow as a portfolio. Supporting rural communities and the last is employees to ensure that we have the right talent in the right place at the right time. And lastly, they have chosen for the governance. The company is committed to operating the company responsibly and efficiently. Put the governance practices of the priority for future management and the board of directors as they try to deliver value and on the stakeholders. You can see in this picture their main board of directors, and they have put it in the activity. So the main for the leadership, the role of the board is to promote better strategic thinking and planning in addition to focus and the robust oversight. And the directors recognize that the transparency and the employee of best practices in the corporate governance better serve on the stakeholders. This is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask me or comment. And thank you for